Welcome back. In this video, we're going to create an AI system, and it should be pretty straightforward here. All right, and basically we're just going to take our player and duplicate it and then just change the script on it. That's probably the easiest way. So I'm going to grab my player here. Okay, so you got your paddle, and you're not going to need the ball as well, so you don't really need to duplicate both. But what we'll do is we'll just Control D. Okay, so we've got the paddle. Now it does have that extra ball there, so we'll just delete that. And it's, of course, right on top. We'll move it in a second there. I mean, if it's at -24, its position is going to be 24. Okay, pretty easy, I think. Let me just see. Looks right. Like I said, we might have to make some modifications after, given the edges, but for our purposes, that's fine. I think part of the problem is here. 16 by 9. Okay, I'm looking further than I remember. Yeah, that looks better there. Okay. So what we want to do, of course, is change the name. So I'm going to just call this enemy. And so once we've got the name changed, we can leave basically everything the same, except we're going to have to get rid of the script here. We don't want this script. So the easiest way to remove a script is just come under here and remove component. Okay, so that's gone. Now we're going to actually have to go ahead and make the script. And the script, oops, I did this again. Okay, try this again here. Like I said, I need to buy a new keyboard. Okay, enemy. There we go. There, good. It's called enemy. So let's add a new script here. So I'm going to click on my scripts folder. Might as well put it in there right away. A new C# script, and we'll call this, well, we had player bounce paddle movement. Let's call this enemy movement. And it just sort of makes sense to keep the names relatively similar. And we're going to open up MonoDevelop again to do a little bit more scripting. All right. Now, the scripting here will be a little bit different than it was before. Good. And I'm just also going to increase the size here. Zoom in. Sorry, I didn't do that last time. Zoom in. And I know I should be able to press Control+, but it never seems to work there. All right, so that seems a bit easier to see. Now, what we're going to do is first find the ball object in the game. Okay, and so we're going to do this in the start. We're also going to create a variable here. Once I get my keyboard working again. Okay, there we go. All right, so what we want to be able to do here is create a variable. And we're going to hold the game object in it. So that's the first thing that we'll do here. So we'll call that a game object. Okay, so what type is it? It's a game object. Okay, and notice that that's all capitalized because the idea is that's the sort of the class game object, or in this case really the data type game object. And we'll call that, we're going to be looking for the ball. Okay, so I think that's good enough. Just wondering, okay, there we go, change colors, perfect. The other thing that we want is a public, and we'll make it a float, and we'll call that, I think, ball speed would be a good one. I'm actually going to make this lowercase here for this ball. There we go. So we got ball speed. And the other thing that we want to be able to do here is store a position. So we're going to create a vector2 variable. Okay, oops, vector2, and we'll call this our target position. Okay, and we won't set any value for that either. There we go. So at the beginning of the game, what we're going to want to do is have the ball be discovered. So we're basically going to call it ball, like I said there. And what we're going to do is take a game object. Now I'm going to try object dot, okay, just a second, dot, my keyboard is a pain. I'm going to see if we can do a, yeah, we can't do a compare tag, so we can see if we can find with tag. Yep, find a game object with tag. Okay, and we're going to have to tag it, and we're going to tag it ball. Okay, so just now my keyboard has gone. Like I said, I do need a new keyboard here. I'm trying to use an old keyboard, and it's a PS2 style keyboard, and it just doesn't work. All right, so what we've done is basically I'm going to locate the ball object in the game, okay, so that the paddle knows how to move. Remember, we're on the paddle, so the paddle is going to move in relation to where the ball is. And so, like I said, it's just going to find an object with that tag. Now, of course, that means we need to create a tag for that. So let's go do that right now before we forget. So I'm going to go to the ball. So click on the ball there. Remember from before, when we did pickups, we could tag it. And so I'm just going to add a tag here. I'm going to create a new tag, and make sure you spell it exactly the same way. So I'm doing a ball with a capital there. Now, the thing always to remember too is click back on the ball, and it doesn't tag it automatically, which I think it should, but it doesn't. So make sure you do go and tag ball. Okay, let's go back. Yep, okay. So that's really all we have to do in the start. Now we just basically have to get the paddle to follow it. So what we're going to do is we've got the target position. Okay, well, what's that target position going to be? Excuse me. It's really going to be, in terms of the paddle here, just worrying about moving on the y-axis. And so what we're going to do is do something called a vector2 dot lerp. Funny sounding name. Lerp stands for linear interpolation. And so it's going to be a sort of a, how do I say it? The sort of the halfway or the midway point between the two objects, and really in this case the two positions. Okay, and so the two positions are one, this game object. Okay, so this specific game object, which is the paddle. So game object dot transform, because we're grabbing the transform dot position. Okay, and we're going to compare it to our ball dot transform dot position. Okay, so basically what's happening here is it's taking these two positions and going to put them in sort of in between there. And in order to move it, we're going to use it by time dot delta time. That makes it sort of frame rate independent. Okay, and then we're going to multiply that by the speed. Okay, so what we call ball speed. Okay, so I think that is okay. Let's just see. Doesn't look like any problems there. Okay, and then what we want to do is actually set the paddle's position, because we haven't actually set the paddle's position. So what we have to do here is take that game object again, game object dot transform dot position. Okay, and we're going to do, is equal to new vector 2. Now we're going to keep the x-axis the same, and so at the moment I think we've got 24 there. And I think just 24 will work fine. And then of course our y is this target position. Okay, so that should do it, I think. Let's go see. So I'm going to save it. Hope there's no errors. Okay, so there is a problem there. Let me just see what's going on. So we've got vector2.lerp, looks okay. Game object.transform.position. So that's the first thing. Time.delta time times time speed. Just 1 second here. Of course, silly me. The issue was that this was fine actually, the top line. This line here, game object.transform to position, new vector 2. Well, x is here. Target position actually would have 2 values because it is already a vector 2, but we're only interested in the y position. That's right. So we're just going to be able to do that. So that should solve it. Okay, always these little things. So hopefully that disappears. Good. So let's just see. And so recall that the game, I can move it. The game won't start till I release it. Of course, what did I forget to do? Now we also have that bouncy wall still back there. What did I forget to do? Well, I forgot to put the enemy script on the enemy paddle. So scripts, there we go, back to enemy movement, bang. Ball speed, really I think that should be called paddle speed. Now that I think about it, let's just put a number on there. We'll change that in a second. Okay, let's see here. Play. Oops. There we go. Good. So now, wish I got to play here. Oh, okay. I've lost. And there goes the ball off. Now, one interesting thing is, you can see the paddle went flying off. We could put a clamp there, but in reality, because the ball will still be staying there, and we just have to sort of take off the ball if it goes off the screen or whatever. We don't have to worry about clamping that. That's fine. Okay, so let's just go change this up here. Instead of public float ball speed, that's what I call it. Oh, I think that's the issue. It's just calling speed because I should put it as that enemy movement. And no, we want paddle speed, right? That's the problem. So call that paddle speed. There we go. Whoops. That makes more sense. Okay, let's just go back. Yep. And once that compiles. No, and I gotta change it down here. Ball speed, paddle speed. All right. Finally. Good, so that should change that up. It's called paddle speed, and again, I'd have to change that number, so I don't know. You'd have to play around and see what works best there. However, that's pretty good for now. Now, we still have to do a few things, including the scoring. We have to do something about the ball bouncing, because what you'll find is at a certain point, you might get it just bouncing straight back and forth, which isn't too much fun. So we're going to work on that a little bit, and like I said, the scoring, and a few other things. But for this video, we're done here. See you in the next video.